Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Voinique Toot, and you're tuned into NB12, the Weekend Edition, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, the National Security Minister vows to push for a sex offenders register within 12 months. PLPs descend on North Abaco for the party's first rally as the by-election draws near. Plus, a local fitness club launches its 40-day challenge. We've got those stories and so much more coming up. NB12 Weekend starts right now. Topping news tonight, 1 year after the abduction and murder of 11-year-old Marco Archer, his grieving family is disappointed that no steps have been taken to establish a sex offenders register or pass a special law known as Marco's Law. His family even reached out to National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage last week to find out why nothing has materialized. He told NB12 that he hopes to bring more focus to a sex offenders register and special alert for missing children within the next 12 months.
I don't think we'll have a second anniversary and not have these matters resolved, except for the trial itself.
Following Marco's death, then opposition member of Parliament Dr. Bernard Nottage called for the establishment of a sex offenders register, special police alerts for missing children, and the passage of Marco's Law. 1 year later, nothing has happened, even though Nottage is now National Security Minister. He told NB12 that Marco's tragic death stays with him and he still plans to pursue Marco's Law. However, he says right now his hands are tied.
The problem is that, as you would know, somebody's been charged with his murder, and so that is a matter that is before the courts. And what I am reluctant to do is to do anything that would prejudice the case that we expect to be brought forward to deal with the accused person.
Nottage says government will have to wait until that matter is brought to trial and concluded. However, given the backlog of court cases, he's hoping this one would be expedited. In the meantime, he says he will seek to bring some focus to a sex offenders register and special alerts for missing children within the next year.
At the same time as we deal with the whole proposition of Marco's Law and alerts, I think we'll deal with the sex offenders registry. So the position on it will be determined well before the term is over. Indeed, I'll go so far as to say within the next 12 months, if we can get the case before the courts in that time, I should think that all of this kind of thing would be dealt with one way or the other.
Up to this point, Nottage admits that he has not broached the subject of special alerts with police, but he plans to. Additionally, he says the Urban Renewal Program has police in communities who can respond immediately when a child is reported missing. As for the sex offenders register, he says all sides must agree.
I am one of those persons who believe that we should have a sex offenders registry. In having discussions with people who have been working in this field for a very long time, I find that there's not a unanimity of views on this. Some people feel that it may do more harm than good in certain cases. I'm not convinced. I think we should have one, but that's a matter that's under discussion. I had a recent meeting with with the principals in the crisis center, and we've been talking about some of the issues with respect to domestic violence and violence against children.
This country's murder count climbed to 87 this morning when a 23-year-old man died following a drive-by shooting on Bow Avenue, Montel Heights. Police say the victim lived in the area. He was reportedly standing outside a home around 12:30 when a vehicle pulled up and the occupants opened fire on him. The unidentified man was shot multiple times. He was taken to hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. Police are also investigating a shooting in Nassau Village. They say a 30-year-old man was shot in the leg after he got into an altercation with another man on Matthew Street around 8:30 last night. The victim was taken to hospital. His condition is unknown. Meantime, a Long Island resident was airlifted to New Providence for treatment today after he was stabbed in the chest. According to police reports, the 35-year-old victim got into a fight with another man at a Long Island club shortly before 2 this morning. He's in serious condition. 2 weeks before North Abaco constituents head back to the polls to vote in the by-election, leaders of the Progressive Liberal Party descended on that island once again last night for the party's first rally. Minister of Agriculture and Local Government V. Alfred Gray used the opportunity to respond to Free National Movement candidate Greg Gomez, who claimed he was victimized by the government shortly after the May 7th general election. Gomez said he was appointed island administrator under the Ingram administration, but after the general election, he was informed by the new government that his services were no longer needed. Gray denied that claim.
And Mr. Gomez has never, ever been appointed a family island administrator in that ministry ever, ever, ever. Oh. Now, when he says that he was fired, God dog it, you gotta be hired before you can get fired. Oh.
Gray also claimed Gomez was on the 52-week temporary jobs program launched by the former administration last year.
Now, how the devil you could be administrator on the 52 weeks program? I tell you, listen, if you all fool enough in North Abaco, you only like him. You were on the 52 weeks program. Quite frankly, I don't know if you're still on that program, but if you were not an administrator when Hubert Ingram was there, you certainly need to apply to me now. And I may consider you after you lose.
Well, Gomez responded to Gray today. He said he was assured by officials in the Prime Minister's office that they would keep him on as island administrator, but would have to put his application through the system, which would take 5 to 6 weeks. He said, though all this time he had not been paid, so government put him on the 52-week jobs program as compensation. PLP supporters also heard from Prime Minister Perry Christie and the party's North Abaco candidate Renardo Curry last night. Regardless of who wins the North Abaco by-election, Christie pointed out that the balance of power in Parliament will not change.
Whether we win or not on this particular by-election, the next day after the by-election, when you ask to see the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, you're going to see me. Oh. 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 The next week, next year, when Abaco is looking for something to happen for it, who you think will be the Prime Minister?
North Abaco hasn't gone gold since the 80s, when Hubert Ingram, who won the seat twice as a PLP, ran as an independent candidate and won in 1987. He was re-elected 5 times after that as an F&M candidate. If elected, Curry said a major priority for him would be continuing education.
Our high school graduates need better access to scholarships. And it's time for vocational schools like BTVI to be established in Abaco. College graduates should have our support for job placement. We need continuing education and training programs for government workers. And we need to support lifelong learning here in North Abaco.